What's up, guys? Welcome to Las Vegas. We are here at the Wynn Vegas Concours, and I'm here with my brand new Ferrari F40. You guys, when I was presented this car by my friends at Curated in Miami, I was absolutely blown away. I think this is the most stunning Ferrari F40 in LM style that I've ever seen in my entire life. And in fact, I have the gentleman who originally sourced this car from overseas, Bryant, the car shrink, is with me today. Bryant, thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
Amazing car. Buddy show. Yeah. There's a bit of a story. I was on vacation and I met the guy who was taking care of, a very good friend of mine, Sandro, and he has an amazing shop. And I saw this car, this is years ago, and I said, when this car comes available, let me know. Years later, he calls and we grabbed it. And then, of course, I got involved with John and the boys and Gabe, and we started working on it together.
So walk me through kind of what makes this car unique. It obviously looks visually different than a standard F40. I mean, all the F40s were painted in red, right? And there's this stunning shade of silver. Yeah, walk me through where.
So the gentleman, first of all, the car was originally owned by, it was a sheik in Saudi Arabia or something. He was the original owner. Then the second owner was Koji. I don't want to brutalize his name, but big Ferrari collector in Japan. He's one of Ferrari's biggest collectors, and he had multiple F40s, so he had that car painted. Then it got bought by the guys in Thailand. Then when it was sent to Thailand, it was painted silver, and then it was already LM Tribute. So the LM Tribute is a different front end, as you can see.
Yes.
Different lights. Yeah. Totally different. You got a different front end clip. You got intakes there, NACA ducts, larger intakes there, and intakes here, or X, basically to break up the wind. Then also you have different wheels. So the wheels are magnesium wheels. Obviously these brakes are not standard also, they're bigger brakes, full racing brakes. You also come back here, you can see this car does have, which is rare, these were on the early cars and the race cars, the slider glass windows, which are lighter, they're plexi. So it's plexi through here, plexi through there. So they did that. Then obviously, when we come to the back, you got a different wing and then a different rear diffuser and exhaust. As you can see, it's ceramic coated. Now the motor on this car, they did a tasteful upgrade. They didn't want to go too crazy. They rebuilt the turbos, retuned them, new cams, basically went through the whole motor and juiced it up. Gave it a little extra juice.
Runs a little bit higher boost, man.
Higher is the different computers. Yeah. They also did the suspension, which is really important because basically the suspension now is going to be a little bit tighter, a little bit. And the interesting thing, they built this car on a adjust car. Usually race cars don't have adjustable suspension, but if you want to ride it on the street, it's good to have it. And they removed, this car was what they call an adjust catalytic car, and they took off the cats, obviously.
Yeah.
Because you don't need it, especially in many parts of the world now, and it makes it run better and quicker. Different pop-up valves, and this car, you can see some of the bits there, the racy bits. And basically the car was tuned, and when you drive it, you will see the difference. It will rev way quicker, takes off the line, but it is extremely trackable. And one of my favorite things that they did to the car was they upgraded since the car was in Thailand, big air conditioning, big cooling. So you can drive this 100 degree plus, no problem all day. And so for me, I'm a bit of an older guy. I like my comfort in my race cars. So AC blows, you could hang meat in this thing.
So what's really interesting is, I was just with a new hypercar of mine, and the AC actually didn't blow that strong. And when I'm on the track, I'm actually get kind of sweaty and gross and whatever. And so I'm actually happy to have a vintage Ferrari that has really good AC. That's actually exciting.
It's an incredible machine. I've driven it quite a bit since we've had it, but it's very tractable. It is an easy car to drive. Of course, it's got no power steering, but that's what makes it fun, more direct.
Yes.
But for an F40, I've driven many F40s. This particular car is one of the smoothest drive. You hear a car is built in Thailand, essentially, you're what? But Sandro is an Italian German living in Thailand. I mean, what more can you get than that? With an Italian.
With a whole bunch of Ferrari LM parts, right? Like it's
exactly.
It's not a Frankenstein. It's built,
correct.
To the nines. Can you walk me through the interiors? This is obviously, I had an F40 previously. Walk me through, because this looks substantially different than my last F40.
So I'll show you. So the seats are different, as you can see. You can also see in here, you got full roll cage. So that's been put in, that's for LM. 4-way belts, a 5-point belt, excuse me.
Yep.
Different steering wheel, of course. You can see the shifter, get my phone out of the way. The shifter's in it, different with the lockout. And then you can see also the way they did the key, you put it in almost like a safety lock, almost. It's like a tribute to race cars. The interior still, a lot of it's intact, so they didn't tear it apart. You know, they made it, it's a tasteful LM, streetable. So think of it, it's kind of, I like to say it's, you know, in this day of resto mods with singers and that, it's kind of a resto mod F40 done tastefully, and the color is Argento Nuremberg.
You know what struck me about the first F40 that I have? They made these in the late 80s, right?
They were designed in the mid-80s, technically.
Unbelievable that Ferrari produced this kind of a wild car. And now this has gone, you know, a step above that. But I mean, I did 155 miles per hour in Mexico when I was down there. You know, my last F40.
Right.
And it was like nothing, dude. I'm like, I got there so fast. A 1989 car going that fast. Even today, it actually performs like many of the other cars.
And what's really interesting, this was one of the last tube chassis cars. So this is built like an old car. The technology isn't what they have. Like the F50 is a completely different car. It's a space frame, that's new technology. This is the old school. This is vinyl. This is a vinyl car. You put the needle on the record and the drum beat goes like this. So I mean, it still gives you that feel, that raw feel, but also the tech that remember, they're Formula One guys. These guys won more Formula One races. They know how to build a race car. Yeah. They know how to build a road car. So there's a reason why I like to say Ferrari as an artist, you ain't gonna lose, especially in this vintage, you know?
I compare it to some of the modern Ferraris of today. It feels to me, this is just my personal opinion, because I've owned new and I've owned old Ferraris. This feels like they started with race car mentality first and then turned it into a road car. Today, it feels, and we have a beautiful SF90XX over there, which is, so cool, but it feels like they start with a road car first and then try to make it racier.
Absolutely. And also, first of all, what we had were different rules. So the rules of building a car now, they try and build a car for the world. So they have to follow in all these things, parameters that in China they have to do versus the States. And then also remember, this car is son of a 288. A 288 GTO was built for Group B racing.
That's right.
It was gonna be a race car and they canceled it because, oops, they were killing too many people, including spectators. Oops, sorry. And that's why it got canceled. And 288 was made to be a race car, and then from there, this came out of the 288. So it's an evolution of heavy evolution, but it was race car.
Yeah, I mean, they just like iterated on it further, and now you have this F40, which still to me blows my mind that this car was designed and built in the late 80s, early 90s.
Well, the thing also is the proportion of cars back then. Cars now are way bigger. I had a science buddy of mine who has a 360 Challenge Stradale, and I had a Countach, which I love Countaches.
Yep.
Who doesn't? And he said, "Oh, Countaches are huge." I'm like, put the two cars side by side. And he's like, "Oh my God, it's tiny."
Countach is like a micro car.
It's
like, I can't even get, I'm 6'3". And I'm like, this was made for maybe 5'8", 5'9".
It was a design language, and also the size of cars were smaller. So the proportion, and the F40 is this perfect proportion. And even though they made a lot of them, everybody wants them. So that's what's amazing. And look, the styling is amazing. And look, the LM, to me, takes it another level.
I mean, just the vents and the aggressive styling and this big front lip and the headlights, I can't even describe it. I think it's stunningly beautiful, and it's aggressive, but it's sleek, and it's,
There's something else there.
purposeful.
Yeah, there's something also, because I'm a Ferrari guy. I worked for Ferrari for a very long time. I love Ferrari. It's in my blood. And they're red, and most people say red. To me, I'm not a red car guy.
Yeah.
And when I see Ferraris in other colors, and an F40, when I knew about this car, I was on him like a cheap date. Sandro, don't do anything. I'll pay. I got the money. I'll pay. So it's just the styling. I was told, as I told you earlier, Sergio Pininfarina, who I was lucky enough to meet, he was launching cars in silver during the 90s because it would show every line and nook and cranny, and you get to see it really well.
And this really does. I mean, this car in silver, it shows all of the lines, and it's just stunning. I love the colorway. I love the color combo. I love the red seats. They just pop. I'm excited to add this to the garage, and this car, we'll see, by the way, I'll drive this thing in the snow. I'll drive it on the track. We're going to bomb around, but I appreciate you, kind of walking us through the special nature of the car, the provenance, where it came from. I actually think this is an important part of Ferrari history.
I think it is, and now that when I was working for Ferrari back in the day, they were really, and most manufacturers are anti any No, you can't change anything.
Yeah.
Now the world has changed, which I love. I love the young guys that are into it, and when I meet the car kids, I love them because it's changed. The world has changed for the better in that sense, where it's accepting of new things and new ideas. And Sandro, the Forza in Thailand, I mean, those guys. I mean, the build quality is, people say Thailand, and just the paint quality or everything he just did. I mean, he's an Italian German. Come on, what else do you want?
Yeah, I mean, that's just what they do. I'm just watching people kind of swarm it here at this Concours event at the Win, and it still holds its own against even today's greatest cars. We're standing next to a Regera and a Super Sport and a Chiron. And
I hate to admit how long I've been going to Car Week.
Yeah.
I've been going since the early 90s, late 80s, And over the years, I've pretty much driven everything. This car got more attention at Car Week than I've seen any car ever do.
Thank you for sourcing it.
And the boys at Curate,
My guys that curated
the best.
I mean,
I love those guys, and that's why I teamed up with them, and I team up with them all the time because they're just great guys.
they managed to find some really special cars somehow, like really special cars, and this happens to be one of them. And so, we're gonna go put it through its paces, and I'll let you know how it goes. Come out to Utah. We're gonna go bomb around.
I'm in. That Utah rally we just did, those roads were insane. They're insane.
Yeah.
So I loved it. I will come out.
Everybody follow the Car Shrink. This is Bryant. He's the one that found this car overseas, and now it's here in the United States, and it's joining the Supercar Ron garage, and it'll be a fixture for hopefully a long time to come.
I hope so. If not, let me know because I'll buy it back. It's amazing. So I'm glad you had it, and I'm excited for you to enjoy it. I'm looking forward to hearing what you think of it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Right on.
Appreciate you.